Hey guys, so you might be wondering what have we got here? Well, this is my robot vacuum cleaner, which I have a small problem with. Very much a first world problem, but a problem nonetheless. This is kind of sort of smart and comes with remote control. You can start and stop it, and it does have a plan function that you can use there to kick it off. But the issue I have is that the plan doesn't always work, and it's quite a rigid plan. So you can send it out once per day, and it'll go out at the same time, which is kind of handy. But then I don't want it to work on weekends, so I would prefer it just to clean downstairs when 10:30, something like that, when I'm working, or might even be needing, like, maybe it's just a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. And you can't do that with this remote, which is fair enough. It's a simple remote. And it also only works when you've got line of sight. It's got a small timer in, and that's just going to do the IR commands when it's time to go. So I've been thinking of ways around that, and that idea has kind of evolved into something different potentially. That being a small infrared blaster in each of the rooms downstairs, which would be able to start and stop the Hoover. But then additionally, rooms that have got TVs in, it would be nice to be able to blast codes to the TV. So the idea being that I could just basically know that at the end of the night, or after a certain period of time, all the TVs downstairs are shut off. Robot Hoover's told to go home, things like that. Now that relies on your TVs having discrete codes for on and off. Otherwise, if it's just a toggle, you're potentially going to turn the TVs on. So I'll need to look at that, the TVs. But the first step was to look at the Robot Hoover. So the idea is to then reverse engineer the codes. So for doing that, I had a couple of these small boards. I'll put that there, which is an infrared receiver. Is a kit which was much easier to use. They came as a pair, and that's just a single IR LED with another LED in line there, which would allow you to know when you're sending a signal. So you get the kind of visual indicator. That will work, but the problem is you only get so much power. Now, I remember watching a video of Brian Lough's, which I think might have been last year, and he was looking at doing a universal remote. So there's a lot of similarities there. So what I did, I had a look through, and he used a transistor. So I had some already, some 3904s. So I set up this little simple board, but what I've done is I've went for 3 IR LEDs, and these were just the cheapest 5mm 940 nanometer wavelength LEDs. Came with a pack of 50, I think, from Aliexpress. And sorry for the exposure there. Just got the 3 of those LEDs in series, hooked up with the transistor, single resistor in line, and then that hooked up to the 5-volt power coming from. I've just got it on a Node MCU, but I maybe plan to move it to a WeMOS. And it'll be nice just to do a little board. I could use this way, stackable boards, and you get the prototype boards for these. And the idea we're doing 3 is that I could have one forward, one to the side, and sort of 2 at angle either side. So that would mean that it doesn't matter the angle that it's pointing at as such. So it should get around the room. Now, the only issue I've got, and I never realised till I started looking into it, is that you can get the IR LEDs in various strengths. So either pulse strength or the total load they can do. And that's also partly limited by the transistor that you use as well. So the 3904s, I think, can only do 200 milliamps. And the 222s can do 600, I believe. So at the moment, I'm using the 3904. And what I've done, I'll just switch to here, as I've taken Brian's code and I've just hacked together a quick thing with clean button. You can see I've just left out his other code in here. So that's where I've got to, but the way I got there, which was a very similar way to what Brian did it, is the IR received dump_v2, went through and for capturing the codes, and that'll try and recognize it, and then that will output it on the serial output. Now I ran through this multiple times, but the problem I had is that this remote, and sorry I've moved out of frame just because I'm looking at the PC, is this remote showed up as unknown every time, which is not the worst problem, but the problem is when you've got it unknown, to then send it as an IR blast, you've then got to send the raw capture, which is a lot more difficult than just doing the individual string. And there was also quite a bit of variance when I was doing this. So when I was trying to capture a raw and then send it, interestingly, it just didn't want to work. And I hate to admit it, but what I ended up doing was I had a quick Google, and shock, horror, surprise, someone had already done this. And then I found a nice little list with the codes on. So these codes here correspond to, so this is an example that for sending, and it's that code there, and it's 32-bit. So just using those, and that worked straight away. So it's a shame because I wanted to go through the whole process of capturing the codes and then being able to use the codes that I then captured, but that's just not gonna, it wasn't possible for whatever reason. The gentleman that did this further up on the GitHub conversation, he actually used an oscilloscope and captured the codes that way and was able to decode them, and that worked, well, obviously worked very well because he's just put the codes up there. So now we've got that full set of codes. It's a case of going through. Now, if I quickly switch back to, where are we? The web page here. If I click clean, it should wake him up. Now, the infrared sensor is on one side, so if I put him there and click clean, now you heard a chirp there, and he's come on. Obviously, I don't want to turn the vacuum on the top. You couldn't see this, so if I put him back here, if I turn him off, okay. Tell you what, maybe I'll go to the web page on my phone. Let me have a look. Okay, so I basically just got, you can't see that's washed out, but if I hit the clean button, we get nothing. Let me try it on here. Can I go around that bit? There you go. You got the chirp. There you go. So that was it, trying to clean my desk. So it works. What I need to do now is test if using the 222s, all the 4 twos, is any better. It likes to chirp at you. So if I pop him out. I shouldn't need to make any changes, but if right, he's off. So if I just press clean, okay. So we're testing the power of that. Maybe I do from here. That worked much better, more power coming through, and as you can see, the IR LEDs there, our receivers there. Try clean. So okay, so that's too far the other way, but what I'm trying to test basically is that it doesn't have to be an absolute direct line of sight, because that's a difficult thing. Generally, you would get it where it bounces off walls and such like. Nope. Stop working. Let's try it direct line again. No, getting nothing. So let's just check. Did I knock anything when I was getting bashed around? Try giving the Node MCU a reset. Okay, so I needed to reset the Node MCU there. So either that's something to do with the yeah, to test the longevity. What I'm going to do is next video I'll get this put on a bit of proto board, and then we can test it out in a bit more valid scenario by making up the little board. I think I mentioned the 3 IRs pointing like this, and then one in the center. Put that in the room, and then I can see if I can start and stop it in the room. If that works, then what I'll do is move on from the hardware and then start looking at the software side of things. Now I'm torn whether to integrate it into my home automation system, Dominic's, or whether to just leave it standalone, and so it can operate and have a timer on it, and then it could start the clean, stop it, and such like, and allow me to manually control it as well, or integrate. So I think I'll have a think about that, but then I'll start working the code. I think I'll use Brian's maybe as a base. I'm not sure. I'll start putting something together, and then it's not going to be a universal remote like Brian's was, but it's just going to be a remote for timed functions, shall we say, in particular things. So okay, and it was a funny video, just trying a different bit of format, a few more cameras and things. Hopefully it's going to work, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share.